Cowboy camp in Oxnard today, which is, you know, I think, I could be wrong. Tui, don't you live up there? I think they have the best strawberries in America.
They do have incredible
They have the best strawberries in America in Oxnard.
Is that where that strawberry farm is?
Yes. There's a legendary.
I've always wanted to go to that.
It's supposed to be. It's where all the restaurants in L.A., the good ones, buy their strawberries in Oxnard, California.
Third favorite fruit: pineapple, mango, strawberries.
Ooh, this
pineapple.
is if you actually would come in on a Friday.
She doesn't come in on.
How is that
your reaction to pineapple?
It's so hard to eat. It tastes like it's cardboard. It's
so hard to eat. What pineapple are you talking about? It's like
you know you have to
like
cut
biting
it,
into
right?
heaven.
You don't eat it from the
Cantaloupe
outside.
just dissolves in your mouth. It's so mouth friendly.
Pineapple is so good for you.
First of all, you didn't list watermelon.
It takes away bloating. It's good for your stomach. It's delicious.
Well, who cares if it's good for you? I mean, it's better for you than other things. You mentioned best fruit. Like, you didn't mention watermelon. That's amazing. Raspberries also
Watermelon is not very high on my fruit list.
Wow, that's disappointing.
I'll tell you, put it in a blender.
Watermelon-flavored things is kind of better than regular watermelon.
By the way, put watermelon blender, vodka, club soda, a little watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon and lemon actually is very good for a hangover.
Anywho, all right. So we were talking earlier today that I'm not a day trader. I don't check my 401k. I don't time the stock market. I buy stuff. Stocks for the long term. Same with quarterbacks. Tim Tebow won 7 straight games. Mark Sanchez was hot for an hour. In the end, I buy stuff I want to stick with. Here's the 11 quarterbacks last 3 years.
Okay.
And I said Mahomes is my Hall of Famer. Darnold's 2. Then, if I was forced to take a third, I'd probably go coin flip Baker Deshaun. I'd take Deshaun because I do think eventually he'll get an offensive line, which is not a liability, and Cleveland scares me as an organization. But I would go Mahomes 1, Darnold 2, and probably Deshaun 3rd. Who would your 3 be?
That would probably be them. It's interesting. Like, Deshaun Watson had some bumps coming off an ACL. Does anybody know they won 11 games last year?
They won the division.
Right? They won 11 games. And, like, I get Jacksonville was crummy, but Tennessee was okay.
9-7?
No, not bad. And the Colts were really pretty good and have a great quarterback. And they won the division.
Yes.
And they're the 4th largest market in the country, and we never talk about them. Now, maybe it's because they're operating without a GM. You know, there's other parts to the team. And
they've let us down over the years. They can't ever step up and win. Like Cincinnati, when they had Carson Palmer, you're like, you didn't really trust them to win a big game.
I would hedge, and I would say, boy, I put Baker right there in that discussion at 3 just because.
So you like Darnold more than Baker?
No, I like Darnold. Darnold absolutely second. Like, Darnold just is getting overshadowed because Baker yells the loudest and he's on a better football team. Darnold's a better player. He's a better prospect coming out, and he has done nothing to lead us to believe otherwise. And I think the Jets have done a really nice job. You know, I mean, last year they had McDowell around him, who's the perfect older quarterback to help lead him.
Yeah.
And now you get him Ryan Khalil, so he has the perfect older smart center to help lead him. Like, I think Darnold's going to be the breakthrough guy. I think that's the big challenge for the Patriots is, you know, yeah, you have all probably second-year quarterbacks in that division, assuming Rosen eventually wins the job and Josh Allen, and now and eventually one or two of those guys are going to hit, and that'll be the biggest challenge to the Patriots in that division. I would take Darnold second. I would probably think about Baker third. Deshaun Watson, I love his leadership. I'm with you on Deshaun, but Baker's a real. And then Kyler Murray fifth. Am I crazy to buy this Kyler thing, even though I am petrified of how little he is and how prone to run he is, because there's no such thing as an old running quarterback, and there isn't really any such thing as a 5'10" quarterback. But if there's a guy, it could be him because he's so accurate. He's got such a good arm, and he is literally in the perfect system. You don't need a good offensive line for that system, and they have a terrible offensive line.
Yeah, no, I don't have a 5 either. I have a 1 absolute, a 2 absolute. We can argue over 3, 4. You know, Josh Allen in Buffalo, I've got a couple scouts who tell me, they're like, listen, there's moments last year. Remember the Minnesota game? You're like, oh, my God, he looks like Big Ben. But again, you don't know. They had a bad O-line. They had no receivers. I think I need 1 more year with Josh Allen.
I think they can win with him, but I think it's a specific way in which you're going to have to live with the fact that he's going to have to throw downfield, and he's going to be inaccurate, or he's going to have to run the football because he's a ridiculous big athlete, and then play to your defense. I think you can do that in Buffalo, but I don't think he's empirically a good quarterback, right? Sam Darnold's a good quarterback on any team in the league. Pat Mahomes is a good quarterback on any team in the league. Mitch Trubisky, Josh Allen, some of these guys can be good quarterbacks in the perfect system with the right fit.
Doug Gottlieb is joining us. We were, one of the things about, the Dak Wentz thing, people say, well, Dak's won more than Wentz. Winning is a very funny thing. Mike Ditka drafted Danny Werfel because he was a winner. Tim Tebow won 7 straight. Mark Sanchez. You have to be careful about winning.
Vince Young's first year with the Titans, they won a bunch of games.
If it was just winning, you would draft Alabama or Ohio State's quarterbacks because they just win more. There is something about talent evaluation with the quarterback where, and this is, by the way, Glenn Close doesn't have an Oscar. Kobe Bryant does. That's winning in Hollywood, winning an award. Glenn Close is a superstar. Kobe Bryant won an Oscar because he had the right group of people on a project.
Right.
So when I look at Dak and Wentz, if you took 32 GMs and you said, pick one, they would all take Wentz. Wentz was a #1 pick. Now, there are injury concerns, and that's a real component here. But when the Dak is winning thing, I think we're getting to a point now where we're overstating the winning thing. Andrew Luck won first 3 years with nothing, Doug. Nothing. Dak's got a lot of help here, right?
No question. I mean, if you want to look at the numbers, you can. Look at the paucity of 300-yard-plus passing games, right? And look at what they did when they didn't have Zeke and how much the offense changed when they got Amari Cooper. Look, I think the whole thing works together as an ensemble cast quite well.
Right.
I mean, Tyron Smith, when he's been injured, remember they had issues in their offensive line last year as well. So when the line is right, when Zeke is right, when Amari's right, he's good. He's fine. He's not an elite quarterback. Again, this is kind of this. Do I think he's better than Trubisky? Sure. Do I think he's that much better that he's $35 million a year? I don't. And I don't think anyone truly believes it. Right? Like, I feel like they're going to overpay him because he was so underpaid to be the starting quarterback of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a terrible philosophy to have. I don't understand that. He's in the middle of the pack. You can absolutely win a bunch of games with him.
Yeah.
But is he Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees? Is he Carson Wentz? No. Carson Wentz was the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt.
Yeah.
Right? And they won a Super Bowl without him. I don't think that Dak Prescott has ever been, or should he be in the discussion of MVP of the league. And I think paying him otherwise, it doesn't morally offend me. It's going to hinder their ability to be what they've been, which is a really good ensemble cast.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL's a hard cap. The NBA, we did this a couple of weeks ago. Joy and I were actually laughing. The NBA's got so many loopholes. Larry Bird writes that it's a real soft cap. In the NFL, it's pretty punitive. Like I was talking about the Rams. The Rams, I think they paid Gurley a year early. I didn't like.
Yep.
I think they overpaid massively for Brandon Cooks when they have 2 excellent receivers. They're going to pay for that when they pay Goff. They're going to have to figure out a way. They're going to have to get rid of somebody. And I think in their division, in the NFC, that is rough. I wonder now, has the Dak thing, are we peaking now? Because all these young quarterbacks, Goff's getting better. Trubisky will get better. Garoppolo is now in. I wonder, Doug, if this Dak, so far, this is the peak of it. This is all the young athletic.
Look, it's possible. I also think that you have to factor in something you've talked about a lot on this show, which is accurate. Jerry Jones is not getting any younger, and he sees Miami as a legit possibility, maybe even likelihood. I got my tight end out of the TV booth. I'll throw him out there for one more year. I got Amari. I got Zeke in his prime. I got the offensive line in his prime. I have a defense that is good enough. I have a division where the Skins are down, the Giants are down, right? Like that's 4 wins a year that normally are absolute dogfights. And now maybe I split with the Eagles, 5 wins in my division. When am I ever going to get that? So I agree. Like, again, I would never consider him an elite level quarterback, but I do think that Jerry in his own mind thinks, if we're ever going to do it, the time is now, and we can figure out a way to make the money work, but we just have to get all of these kind of ducks in a row. The crazy part about it is, for example, with Dak Prescott, they're really not under any pressure to give him a contract. If they don't, they can franchise him next year. He'll make $25 million guaranteed, and if they don't after that, they'll franchise him again, and it ends up being 50. So they can drive a hard bargain. I just don't think they want to, because I think that would take them away from their focus being Miami. And I think Jerry it's like Marissa Tomei in my cousin Vinny, right? Her biological clock is ticking.
Right.
That's Jerry Jones. Like, my football clock is ticking here. Let's get it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is weird with the NFL. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise tag for players. I think if I was an owner, I'd love the franchise tag. But you really do own Dak's rights. You're in a great spot if you're the Cowboy. You don't have to pay him anything. And by the way, if you franchise tag him after this year and he makes 25, you're probably paying him $7 million less a year, which is the second corner and another pass rusher. I mean, if you're just talking about business.
Well, look, there's ways in which you can move it around. I do think it's important, and we're going to dig in when we go to Cowboys camp here when I leave here. They do have a new play caller. Like, if everyone thinks that their offense was perfect, why did they change play callers? If everyone's so enamored, and other people have taken the blame for the fact that how good is Dak, right? They got rid of Dez because, well, Dez isn't good enough. Was he? Maybe not. You know, it's why he's not in the league anymore. Also, he got hurt, but also it's because Dak couldn't bring out the best in him. Now, they were much better offensively when they got Amari Cooper, but there were times in which Dak wasn't good enough even with the supporting cast. So if I'm the Cowboys, I say all the right things. I'm okay going into the season with the contract as is, and show me how you play with this new offensive coordinator, these play callers, and all of these position players, assuming you get Zeke back in time.
All right, Doug Gottlieb is now headed to Oxnard, the world's greatest strawberries, and also the world's greatest radio show live in Oxnard today. And then he goes back and has got a second best show to us. But that's okay. He's a good guy, and he's a friend. It's The Herd.